Welcome to All-American Baseball Center. This session, going home to first. The home to first process is going to start after we make contact with the baseball. So hitting aside from this, let's talk about the base running side. I've got contact with the ball. For the sake of this simulation, what I want you to try and imagine is it's a ground ball between a third baseman and shortstop. Contact with the baseball, now I've got to make my way to first base. Idea here, get going at 100% speed instantly. As fast as you can, as quickly as possible. So after contact, I want to try and focus at first base and get there as quickly as possible. For any base running routine that we have here, we've got to try and focus on taking the extra base, number one, and number two, trying to win those fractions of a second. So as I take my first several steps here, it's to get me at full speed as quickly as possible. As soon as I get to step 3 or step 4, what we have to do is what we call peak. This third, fourth step, as I'm running full speed, is going to be a glance, a peek, just something very quick where I look to make sure that that ball hasn't gone to the outfield. If that ball has gotten through the infield, then this movement at this point becomes me turning to take the route to second base. So for the sake of this, it's ground ball, it's being fielded by the shortstop and third baseman. In this position, I peek. As I peek, I continue to run through first base. When we're running our bases, especially first base, we want to try and imagine that we're going to sprint 5 feet beyond the base. So if it's a 70-foot base that we're playing on, we're sprinting 75 feet. If it's an 80-foot base, 85, 90-foot, 95 foot. This is how we're going to have our mentality to run as hard as we can through the bag. Let's take it up to first base and take a look. So now as I approach first base, I want to try and make sure and focus that I hit the front part of the base as I'm running through. If we hit the back part of the base here, we're going to have to run an additional 2 to 3 feet. Might not sound like much to a player that doesn't acknowledge that winning and losing games is done so by winning fractions of seconds. This is about 2/100ths of a second that we're going to lose by hitting here versus hitting here. So always try to hit the front part of the bag. So I'm going to go through the bag as hard as I can, accelerate, continue to accelerate 5 feet beyond, get 5 feet past the bag, break down. To help me break down, I have to pump my arms. So I break down, and as I break down, I'm looking over my right shoulder. I've got a mental checklist in my mind that I've got to go through. Number 1, did the first baseman catch the ball? Number 2, if he missed the ball, where's the second baseman? Where's the right fielder? Where's the catcher? Who's involved in this play and who's backing up the play? At younger levels, I think kids are taught to utilize their base coach more. I think at this level and higher levels, you have to utilize your own instincts. So as I come through here, it's going to become my decision whether or not I accelerate to second base or not. A common flaw that's made by players is as they go through the base, they continue to run, growing further and further away from second base. If our offensive philosophy is essentially to take the extra base, which it is, then we want to try and remain as shortest distance as possible from second base. So let's rewind here and go through this thing at a full speed. I'm going to go through the front part of the bag, hitting it, breaking down, looking over my right shoulder. If I do acknowledge that I can go to second base, then from this position, boom, I drive to second base. But I want to try and be as low as possible and as athletic as possible. That's home to first, the All-American way.